this is Max Farrow from DexFxMarkets.com, and we are here with the Dex Atomic X 1 hour 1.14. Now, in this release, we have had a few add-ons to our system, and this is a temporary video that we're going to be using for the 1.14 here. Now, why do we call it the 1H? Is because we're using a 5-minute time frame for a 1 hour trade. If you're not aware that in the next day or so, being the 9th of November right now, right around the 10th of November, we'll be releasing our Dex Atomic X 5M, which is the 5-minute trade system, and the 2H, which is the 2-hour trade, which is done on a 1-minute chart and a 15-minute chart. Now, the beauty of these systems is that we've allowed ourselves to have a little bit of understanding of what each one of the inputs has created for us. If most of you know that in the trading the Dex Atomic manual series, there are an opportunity to be able to trade arrows that are above and below the moving average. Now, we use the moving average as a validation tool in our over-under strategy, which you probably reread and read before or seen videos on. If the arrow bar is above the moving average on a buy, it validates that buy to be a very successful trade. And if it's below and the price is below the MA, it's a validated, heavy, good trade. But there are times that you could trade variances depending on the level of action over a period of time, whether or not it's a sell above or a buy below. We've also, over the last update, have decided to place from just high risk and low risk, we've also added a medium risk, as we know is the mean between the high and low risk divisions. We've also created a validated signal system, which in validating with the moving average, that over under strategy that I just talked about. Originally, when we validate the signals, it takes those away. Now, the good thing about doing that is that you're basically trading when you're using the validation system, you're using this at its prime process, and you're not paying attention to any of those trades that aren't over or under in the right direction or validated. If you take the validation off, it will add more trade opportunities on board, but it will not be any more success or less success than you may think, because there's going to be times that the validation would save you from a loss. But in most cases, what we have found is that you have to learn how to read the levels, and that's what will save you in your trading. Now, adding that validation series on to be able to use it or not use it is at your own risk, okay? I still say that it is important to trade with the validation system on, and that will remove some signals from the process, and you learn how to trade the levels of the signals that are already on board. And this is a very powerful system that way. Now, we've also added on another feature to incorporate that validated signal if you have it removed, because sometimes you may get a signal like this with a sell that's really super high. I'm going to have to use the replay system here to show you what I'm talking about. So hit play, it'll validate. Now, when this signal was fired, the price, remember the price being in between what we call deviations of this hilt box, which is a high, a low time period over a period of time. Sometimes the hilt box, if you can kind of see here, from 0 to 1, that's the high and the low. The 1.25 and the minus 0.25 are the extra zones you would use for extra deviations. And what it does is that it takes the same deviation that's being used for this hour period, maybe it's 20 pips or 5 pips or 3 pips, depending on the high-low, and it equally partitions it to the one above and one below. We call this the plus deviation and the minus deviation, being the minus 0.25 or the plus 1.25. Okay. So that means that if the price fires off in this area, as you see it has, it gives you a high risk signal here or a statement price. But if I were to have it on, say, the low risk, it would then jump to the high area here. And of course, the medium risk would be smack dab in the middle, just like that. Now, in all cases, there is a process that when you follow in this faction, that things make sense. But you want to look a little left when you use these trades and see what information you have. And my biggest suggestion to you is that if you have no information to the left, you're not dealing with any certainty of level. And so I would probably omit using the signals at this point. But again, we don't know what we don't know. As the pair trades out, we begin to see that this particular trade won on that level. Doesn't mean they all will, but this particular one has. You're going to have to learn what that is over a period of time. And so as you learn to trade with each one of these pairs, my biggest suggestion is pay attention to your levels, pay attention to what works and what doesn't work. Trade frequently. You don't have to wait per hour. That trade took 10 seconds to go through. So you could probably do maybe 40 or 50 trades an hour, practicing on one particular pair at a time to get that level. Now, in the system itself, everything else sort of stays the same. The alerts won't be affected other than having the availability now to set medium risk. Always will have the same session times available. You should know those by the previous videos. And everything else has remained the same. All right. I hope you find this update encouraging. There's a lot of great stuff that is about to happen with the 5-minute and 2-hour trades. But again, pick something that works for you. If you're a real hothead for 5-minute trades, then give that a try, but only after you make something work. Don't try to deviate and add something more to your buying or your trading portfolio. Have something that you really can focus on. If you find yourself loving 5 minutes, then by all means, please do. We find only about 20% of people can actually make those happen in this industry. And I'm not even one of them. And I invented it. I'm just not patient enough and disciplined enough for 5 minutes. And I get very distracted and I make mistakes. I could probably practice and get it better, but I really don't want to. I like the calmness of a 1-hour trade. And in some cases, I may even fall in love with the 2-hour trades again. We'll see. All right. I'm Max Farrell. This is Dex Fx Markets. We'll see you next time. And as always, trade well.